The visuals, as you have seen, the walk around that Prime Minister and President Xi Jinping did in the 3 separate sites at Mamallapuram, they reflect the personal rapport that the two leaders have built over the 2 informal summits that they have held, the first one last year in April and the second one which is ongoing, as well as 17 other meetings that they have held since Prime Minister took office in 2014. President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister during that tour of the monument spoke of the historical and trading links between the southern part of India, particularly between Tamil Nadu under the Pallava and Chola dynasties, and the eastern coast of China, particularly Fujian province. They both referred to a port city called Quanzhou in Fujian, where recently Tamil inscriptions and fragments of architecture reflecting a possible temple built by Tamil traders in the 12th century has been discovered. President Xi Jinping also said he was aware of this. Both leaders have discussed how we can actually enhance knowledge in this aspect of our bilateral relationship. There was a reference to Bodhidharma, who had left the shores of India from Tamil Nadu and went by sea and took Zen Buddhism to China and Japan. The Prime Minister also explained the significance of the World Heritage Site. At Arjuna's Penance, which is one of the national treasures that we have, the Prime Minister explained the underlying philosophical ethos, which was that man and nature live in harmony with each other, and that the bas-relief, the carvings on this particular monument reflect that harmony between man and nature. And similarly, when he took President Xi Jinping to the Ganesh Rath, he explained that this was a temple where 1300 years after its construction under the Pallava dynasty, it continues to be part of our living culture and our living civilization. Worship takes place in this temple also today. India, like China, is a civilization with a long and continuous history. The cultural program, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you would have seen it went out live. We greatly appreciate the work done by Kalakshetra, the huge effort put in by all the artists, both the people who danced and the musical accompaniment. And Prime Minister and President Xi were delighted with the performance, and they took a photograph, they spoke to the artists, they congratulated them. The discussions that took place over the meal actually stretched over 150 minutes, roughly 2.5 hours, and this was well beyond the planned time for the discussions. Discussions were very open and cordial. This was quality time that the two leaders spent together one-on-one. The rest of the two delegations were in fact in a separate location having dinner. The two leaders had a detailed discussion on their respective national visions, on their governance priorities. The Prime Minister explained that having been recently re-elected to a second term, he had received a renewed mandate for economic development. And President Xi Jinping, of course, while acknowledging that Prime Minister had got a mandate, said that he was looking forward to working very closely with the Prime Minister on all issues during the next 4.5 years. They also spoke about other developmental priorities. In particular, there was some discussion on trade-related issues, on economic issues, on trying to identify areas for investment that the two countries could to encourage, and also on how to enhance the trade volume and the trade value. And in this also obviously included the issue of the trade deficit that exists and the unbalanced trade that exists. Some of the other topics included the challenges that both countries face on account of terrorism. There was an acknowledgement that both countries are very complex, they are very diverse. Both leaders said that these were large countries and that radicalization was a matter of concern to both, and that both would work together to see that radicalization and terrorism did not affect the fabric of our multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious societies. And there was a general sense that both leaders had that this was a common challenge that we face and that we will work together to overcome it. Broadly, today's discussion focused on the national visions and on how to progress bilateral relations. tomorrow's discussion, where there will be continuing one-to-one meetings, will focus on international issues and on regional issues, although, of course, the two leaders are free to discuss all other issues as well. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what I can share with you today, because these are still ongoing discussions, so I have to respect the privacy of both sides. And I hope that tomorrow, at the end of the informal summit, I will be able to share in greater detail what the issues were that were discussed by the two leaders. Thank you.